Madison and welcome back to my channel. Today I have my June TBR. So this is going to be a super short video, as all my TBR videos are. I feel like I just don't really make super extensive TBRs anymore because I tend to mood read, but you know, there's always a couple of books each month that I definitely want to hit. So I want to hit those books at the moment. I do have one arc for this month. Technically I'll have two, but I wanted the second one until like literally just before the book comes out, so I don't know, I'll get to that. So the one arc I have to get to this month, let me scoot over, is This Vicious Grace by Emily Theed. So this is a YA fantasy. I'm so excited for this. So this is set in a world where there's like magic and stuff, and our main character, her name's Alessa. Her like gift from the gods was supposed to be that like her magic would be able to magnify her partner's magic. So like as she's like an amplifier basically. The only problem is that instead her power, her touch, is killing people, and she's not sure like what's going on about that. And there's apparently supposed to be like a demon invasion coming to her island, and like her power and like with her, whoever her partner is supposed to like save people, but because her power is like killing people instead, like the priest of the island is saying that like, oh, maybe instead we have to kill Alessa to actually bring hope to the island. She's like, ah, don't kill me, like I don't want to die. So she ends up hiring Dante, who is a cynical outcast, to become her personal bodyguard. And then there's a rebellion, and she probably ends up falling for the guy who she hires as her bodyguard. But like, imagine having like this amazing magical skill and then finding out that your magical skill is like not working properly, and instead of like it helping people, you're actually killing people. Oh my god, I'm so here for it. It's a romantic debut fantasy, and I'm just like, I feel this is going to be so up my alley. It says it's great for fans of Serpent and Dove as well, and we all know I love Serpent and Dove, so there's like too many YA fantasies I was like that hyped about this year, but this one instantly called to me because of the synopsis. I was like, yes. The other arc I'm going to be reading is Twisted Lies by Anna Huang. This, we don't really have much information about this, except that it's the fourth book in the Twisted series, the last book in the Twisted series. So we're following the last friend, finally, her romance. I forget who the guy is. I think it's Christian that she has a romance with in this one, who we've seen him a little bit throughout the books as well. I know that like, I think it's like fake dating or something is like one of the tropes of this book. Like we really don't know anything about this. Like Anna has been like very tight-lipped on what this fourth book is about, and I'm very intrigued to see how this goes because I'm just really excited for it. So I don't know. I really don't know what to expect from this, but I will be reading this as an arc because I'm on her arc team. But we don't really tend to get arcs until like 2 weeks before the pub date. So I plan to probably read this like around about middle of June is like my guess. Now, of course, I do have one more arc that like I don't have to read in June because the book comes out in July, but I'm going to put on this TBR for June, mostly because this is a queer fantasy romance and June is Pride Month. So I feel like it's a perfect time to read this. This is A Strange and Stubborn Endurance by Foz Meadows. This comes out, I don't know when in July, but sometime in July. It is thick as well, which is why I think it'd be nice to pick it up in June, just so I have enough time to like get through this as like a fantasy book. It's like, oh god, over 500 pages. Now, what is this about? I don't know. Let's find out. It is a gripping political fantasy. So in this one, you're following Velicen, and he never planned to marry, let alone the girl from the neighboring kingdom. But when it comes out that he has a preference for men, he worries that he's ruined the diplomatic union that's going to come from his marriage to this girl. However, the envoy from that other kingdom proposes a different solution, and that is for Vel to marry the girl's brother instead. So he ends up having a political marriage to his betrothed's brother instead, which I was like, oh my god. So that's what that is about. And it says apparently there are people who are like trying to like kill them both to like get rid of this alliance, and like it's about them trying to survive, and like it seems like it's gonna be a very like political, like world building heavy fantasy book. I have no idea what the magic even is in this because like the synopsis doesn't give anything away, but like this cover is also just super gorgeous, and I'm just so here for it. And I feel like it's also like a tour fantasy, which like always is like a great choice for me. So I'm definitely like super freaking intrigued, and I cannot wait to see where this goes. And so I don't know, I'm stoked. Oh, is it like a little note from the author? Does that say there's trigger warnings in this? Okay, so this book contains sexual assault, suicidal ideation, and self-harm. So if there are any of those triggers for you, please know that. But yes, non-arc wise, I do have a couple of books I want to get to this month. I'm about to like head out on a trip, and I know for sure, let me find out what it's called. I'm reading Tate James's next series, her Hades series. So Seventh Circle is the first book in the Hades series. This is a series that takes place after her Madison Kate series, and it's set in the same world. It's all contemporary, but this is them we're following Hades this time around. Hades is like he's the head of one of the gangs, and like he's like head of all the neutral territories, and he's like very well known, but no one actually knows what he looks like. And so I'm really excited to see how this one is, because I feel like I don't really know too much what it is about. I feel kind of bad that I can't really tell you guys what this is about, because I don't want to go into this next series knowing anything, but she does write really great reverse harems, and I'm always so here for them. I also plan to read Addicted to You by Kristen Becker-Ritchie, just because I've got so many friends who keep recommending this series to me, and so I'm finally going to be picking this up. All I know about this one, it says two best friends, liars, lovers, addicts, one epic love story, and I know that like the main girl in this, like it follows one of the Calloway sisters, Lily Calloway, and she is like a sex addict, and then she ends up, I think, falling in love with another guy who also has like some sort of like an addiction, and it's like their romance. I have been told by some people that like the way that this book is described is like not at all actually what the book is about. So I've been told by like some of my friends to just like go into it and just kind of like accept it for what it is, because the synopsis and what other people are saying about it like is kind of incorrect, and it'll kind of like change your opinion of the book before you've even started it. But I'm curious. It says, yeah, she's addicted to sex, he's addicted to booze, the only way out is rock bottom. So like they're both addicted to stuff. I don't know, this could be like really great, or it could like end up being a complete flop to me. Like I never wanted to read this series until I had so many friends who were like, oh my god, I love it, like you have to read it as well. So I was like, that's like the main reason why I'm picking this up. So I'm definitely very curious. I'm then going to be reading Packbound. This is book 1 in the Blissful Omegaverse. I read the prequel novella last month and 2 months ago, and I loved it, and I'm so excited to see where like this full-length book goes. So this follows an Omega, and I think it's 4 alphas. When they all knew each other, they were all kids in like the foster care system, and she was originally like a beta, like she was presented as a beta, and it wasn't until like one day where all 5 of them are together, she like perfumes into like an Omega, and they end up being like, the guys are all 18, they're like still like about to like age out the foster care system, and they're like, we as a pack, like we are not an established pack right now, like we can't look after you, like to the Omega girl. They're like, we don't have the power, like the place like in society to give you what you deserve and need as an Omega, because Omegas are like so cherished and beloved, and like they're supposed to like get everything, and like to be an Omega that like isn't like at like a safe haven, like is very dangerous, like if you don't have like a pack. And so they end up calling like the Omega like society to come take her away so that she can be like looked after and cared for like safely, because they feel like they can't at the moment, and she gets really pissed at them. And that's like how the novella starts, is it's like they have this amazing connection, they all love each other, they want to be a pack, but then they end up sending her away. And this like then like book 1 takes place like years later, when the guys have like established themselves and want her back, and she wants to be with them, and it's like kind of like seeing how everything like restart again. So I'm very into this. I love Omegaverse. Ever since I started it like at the beginning of this year, it has become a genre that I really do enjoy, and I kind of just like dive into it. It's like one of the most like fun subgenres that I feel like I read. It's always like a good time, and it just like it's just like a really great way. Like I feel like if you're in a slump, an Omegaverse book is like a really great way to get out of like a reading slump. I don't know, that's just my opinion. I didn't get to this last month because I read something else instead, but I'm going to be putting this back on my TBR. This is Could Have Been Us by Corinne Michaels. This is book 2 in the Willow Creek Valley series. This follows Jack O'Donnell, and who was the girl in this? Stella. Stella is one of the Parkinson siblings. They're like, the Parkinsons kind of like are like the biggest family in Willow Creek Valley. And Stella has actually been in love with Jack O'Donnell like all these years, and Jack is one of her brother's best friends. So it's like a brother's best friend romance. They've been like secretly dating, and then they broke up, and like the way that book 1 ended was with them being caught kissing again, and like he's still super in love with her, and so it's like their second chance romance, which I'm very interested in, because like they really intrigued me as characters during book 1, and I was like so curious to see where they were going to go, and I cannot wait to see how this ends up being, because like I've said, like her small town romances are some of my favorites, so I know this is going to be like such a great book for me, so very much excited. I would also like to put Juniper Hill on this TBR. This is Daphne Perry's next book in the Eden series. Now this one follows Memphis and, who's the guy? Knox. So Knox is one of the Eden siblings. This also takes place in like a small town. The Edens, like the most well-known family in this town. Not like they're the richest, although they are technically the richest, but there's like so many Eden siblings, and so like they just kind of like, this entire family just like taken over the town. And so this follows Memphis, and she, I think, has like a newborn baby. Her life is like literally like ending, and like she's like, I don't even know what to do anymore, like everything's just in the gutter, like everything's just shit. And she ends up, you know, getting to this small town in Quincy, Montana, and needs a place to stay, and she ends up staying at Knox's place as like a temporary like person who's like living above his garage. And like he doesn't want her there, but like everyone else like kind of was like, oh, Knox is a place that you can stay, and he doesn't want her there. He's a chef. He's like very much like a grumpy guy. He doesn't want to be looking after this new single mom with a newborn baby who's like crying all the time. He's like, I don't want this, like I don't need another woman in my life, like I like how my life is currently. And she just kind of like comes into it and like sweeps them off her feet. And so like I'm super intrigued by this one. Knox is a character that like you saw in book 1 and also the prequel novella, and he's just like I said, he's this grumpy chef, but he also has like kind of like a lot of hilarious banter at the same time. So I'm really excited to see like kind of Memphis come in as like this kind of like really messy like single mom who's like trying to figure out what she's doing with her life now that everything's kind of gone to shit, and like trying to like pick herself back up and then actually like fall in love at the same time. So very intrigued for this. I loved book 1 in this series, so we'll see how book 2 goes. This will be my 3rd time reading from Daphne Perry, and it's been a bit hit or miss depending, so I'm really hoping this one works out for me. I also plan to read Devil's Lair by Anna Zaris. This is book 1 of the Molotov duet. It is a Mafia romance series, which I'm very, very excited for. So it says, ᴛɪδᴛᴏධ for 4-year-old must be willing to relocate to a remote mountain estate, $3,000 a week in cash. And so the reason why I'm so excited for this, because the book starts off with our main girl, like she's driving in her car and her car gets like shot, and like, you know, kind of there's people like trying to kill her, and you don't know why people are trying to kill her. So she decides to take this job like in a remote cabin for like, this man for like money so she can like get away from things. But that guy is actually part of the mafia apparently, and like so she's trying to run from whatever's going on in her life. This guy is like part of the mafia as well, and she's like, what is going on here? There is something about this, like I read the first chapter for free and I was like, oh my god, I am obsessed and need to like know what happens next. I don't know, I'm super intrigued. It's definitely like a very unique one that isn't like every other typical mafia romance that you might read and come across, so I kind of dig that. It's also a duet, and whenever there's like a duet, you can always tell it's going to be super, super angsty, so I'm a bit nervous. I do have book 2 as well, so if I do enjoy this one, I'm just going to read the complete duet this month, but yes. And that's going to be it for my very short, very quick, easy June TBR. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that button down below. If you want to see more of me, just go to my channel. And until next time, thanks so much everyone. Bye-bye.